What's up, guys? It's your Money Cat. Hope you guys are all having a good day. Today we're going to talk about AMD, stock symbol AMD. They reported their earnings this morning, along with the confirmation of big news that they will be buying Xilinx for $35 billion in stocks. We're going to talk about the initial reaction and what kind of post-earnings plays we can make on AMD. If you enjoyed the video, please consider liking the video and subscribing to the channel for more videos like this. Thank you very much. This morning, we received confirmation that AMD will be buying Xilinx for a total of $35 billion, and it'll be all paid in stocks. So that means people who have Xilinx stocks will be getting exchanged for AMD stocks. They valued Xilinx stock at $143 per share, which is higher than what they closed at today. So that equals about 1.7234 shares of AMD stocks. This exchange will happen at the closing of transaction, which is planned to be at the end of 2021. So this will result in share dilution for AMD stock. So at the end of this transaction, near the end of 2021, about 74% of total shares will be owned by the current AMD stockholders, and about 26% of it will be owned by new AMD stockholders who will be coming from Xilinx stockholders. Let's briefly talk about the reported earnings by AMD. They reported fantastic numbers and they beat just about every estimate. Their earnings estimate was 35 cents per share, while the reported earnings was 41 cents per share. This represented 193% earnings growth year over year. For revenue, estimate was at $2.56 billion, while they reported $2.8 billion, and this represented 55% growth year over year. Furthermore, AMD is expecting anywhere from $2.9 billion to $3.1 billion of revenue next quarter. The estimate currently is sitting at $2.61 billion for next quarter. So this is quite the jump. It definitely tells something about how confident AMD is about themselves and their potential for growth. So with all that good news, what did the stock do today? Naturally, it dropped 4%. So with all that good news, what did the stock do today? Naturally, it dropped 4%. Now, AMD was supposed to report their earnings after market today, but they suddenly changed it to the pre-market in the morning. And I think this caught some people by surprise. As you can tell, the stock was just so volatile, moving up and down all over the place. It went all the way up, then all the way dropped, then actually went up again, and then started dropping once the market opened. I do find it amusing that with all this pre-market action, it actually outlined the current horizontal channel that we are in pretty perfectly. I think the upward movement was largely based on the good earnings numbers that they posted, while the downward movement was largely induced by the fact that they are going to have a really big stock dilution when they finally conclude their deal with Xilinx. Overall, adding Xilinx should provide more value for AMD. So if AMD keeps dropping in price because of this news, I think it provides a really good opportunity for us to enter a position. So let's zoom out and look at the overall picture. Let's talk about a couple levels first. You see this very, very long horizontal line here around 59, let's call it $60. This marks a very strong support level should the price ever drop to that level. The reason why? It was working as a very strong resistance before. The price was rejected at this level before 1, 2, 3, 4 times before breaking out. And just the sheer duration of how long this acted as resistance, it tells me that this will work as a very strong support when or if the price shall drop down to that level. We're going to zoom in to see the horizontal channel. I would say since August, we've been in a horizontal channel for AMD. The top side is marked clearly with single line around 87 or so. The bottom, I marked it more as a zone. Let's say it's around 75 plus or minus 1. The stock has gone above or below these levels. For example, right here and then here a little bit, it has gone a little bit below, but I consider them as anomalies as it only happened once. We have been in this channel for 3 months now, so I do consider both of these levels as pretty strong levels of support and resistance. Therefore, if AMD drops a little bit more to this support zone, I would consider that a good buy where you can try to catch this upward movement while it's traversing in this channel. As for confirmation that the trend is reversing and is heading upward within the channel, you can look at a couple different things. You can look at the MACD and see when it crosses over and turns positive in momentum. You can also look at the stock price and see when it moves higher than, say, 14-day moving average. For more confirmation, then look at 50-day moving average. Not only that, if the stock price moves higher than the moving average and comes back to test that level, and the moving average holds as support, then that's further confirmation. Now let's talk about the flip side, and this gets me salivating. If the stock price drops for worries about stock dilution or short-term view or what have you, and breaks through this zone of support below 75-ish, then I would consider anywhere in this big area to be a great buy. While I don't think this is likely, once it drops below that support zone, I do think the downward momentum will be pretty quick. The only potential rest stop in this large zone is probably at 67.5 right there, but it's not a very strong one, as there's really no previous data within this large zone. And as I said before, if it does manage to somehow, some way find the bottom right here at 60 or so, where I mentioned this as an extremely strong support level, then yes, that would be a fantastic entry point in my view and in my opinion only. However, unless the market as a whole has a bad downturn, I do think this level will hold and it'll continue to channel horizontally with positive long-term outlook. I do want to show you guys the 1-year daily chart for a little bit more information. As you can see, we have 2 gaps right here, one here and one here, once we cross the $75 support zone. Gaps usually like to be filled, and that's why once we cross this support zone, it might be a pretty quick downfall until we fill the gaps. But here's the reason why I consider this zone as pretty much not gonna happen, is this green line 180-day moving average is creeping up. So by the time, if this price drops, I do think it'll be caught by this level of support plus the 180-day moving average support. I think over the long run, this acquisition by AMD will prove to be very, very beneficial. Even though they're both in the semiconductor sector, their products are slightly different and they target slightly different audience. So by combining them together, their product portfolio is now much more broad, and it'll allow them to venture out to areas where just one of them couldn't really go out to. Combined together, I think they will strengthen what each does best, and it should help the company's growth in the long run. I really appreciate you guys watching, and please consider subscribing to the channel if you guys haven't already. I wish you guys best of luck for the rest of the week, and I'll see you next time.